Hello everyone and welcome to Thank God It's Flow. In this episode we will look into understanding UI flows or robotic process automation. We will look into two business use cases. One would be automating the unit testing process. So as functionals and business users, we do a lot of unit testing. We can automate that with the help of UI flows. Number two is integrating MYOB AccountRight with Dynamics 365. So these are the two business use cases we will talk about today with the help of UI flows, coming up right after the intro. Alright, so let's jump straight into it. I'm not going to talk about how to set up UI flows, different installation or anything, because you can read that on my blog. If you go to DIYD365.com, right now it is going to be the second blog in the list and you can read about it. I've provided everything. So the title is Everything You Need to Run a UI Flow. So it has got all the installation you need, for example, the desktop app, the web app, the Selenium IDE, all different sorts of tools you require or extensions you required before you jump into UI flows. And that also covers if you want to join a UI flow with other flows like the usual flow. So that also covers that part. So it will be good if you read it and then whatever you watch in this video, you can then start working on it. So the first scenario I'm going to take is MYOB AccountRight integration. So when I say integration, it's not nothing happening in the backend, but you feel the pain of a person who has just created an account in Dynamics 365. Now they're supposed to create an MYOB AccountRight as well because it's not integrated. As far as I know, I'm not sure of the API. I have rarely seen anything available online with MYOB integration, but I'm sure there must be different ways where you can integrate it. But I'm talking from the point of view of a business user who doesn't know how to code. Or a functional consultant, so they can use this technique, what I'm going to show you now. Again, so this one, I'm trying to show you everything, and I'm going to do desktop app first, and then later on I'll cover web app as well, but for that I'll not jump into the testing thing, but I'll try to show you that how you do it. So I can try and do as much as possible. Okay, so let's go to my flows, and so here they are, UI flows preview. Right, so what I'm going to do, if you've got none, you will see a button right here as well. If you've got one UI flow available, then the only new button is here. Also make sure that you've got a CDS subscription, otherwise you'll not be able to create UI flows. That's a requirement. So if I click on new and then I say desktop app and then I click on next. So that's the difference, guys. When you click on desktop app, it just asks you the name of the flow, whatever you want to name it. If you click on web app, it also asks you about the URL, which is going to be the initiating URL. So this one, let me name it as invoice to customer, and don't take it literally. I'm just trying to give you an example. Alright, so if I click next, now here is the setup inputs part of this UI flow. Now you can do as many inputs as you want. For this video purpose, because time is of essence, I'm just going to do one input, which is going to be customer name. So if I say customer name, sample data would be Contoso sample customer and description customer. description. Right. Now, if I want to add more input, let's say I want to create a customer along with a phone number, I can say phone and so on, right? I can also put in address, city, state, whatever I like. But for this demo purpose, I'm going to just pick one input, which is my customer name. So once I've provided that, the next step is click on next, and you can see you've automatically got a step here, and then you've got the recording app. Now again, if you go to my blog where I provided all the steps for installation, you'll find that how this app works. So when I click on launch recorder, it opens up an app on the top. So it docks it here at the top. But if you haven't got it and you click on it, it will say that the system does not find the app, click here to download, something like that. But then if you read the blog, there are all the links provided there, and it would be easier for you to jump straight into creating the UI flows instead of getting different messages to download stuff and you want to fix it later. So let's click on launch recorder. When I click on it, you can see it docks up here, right? Now, what I'm going to do is after I hit record, I'll open up my MYOB AccountRight, okay? So I'll click on record, and now I will say MYOB AccountRight. So that's gonna open the MYOB accounting app, and all I want to do is create a customer. So I'm giving you an example where my input field is just one, but think about a person working where there's no integration between D365 and MYOB, and they have to do it manually, or if there's an Excel import thing in MYOB, I don't know about it, but because I've installed this for the first time in my life today, so I don't know about it. But all I want to say is, and then they have to type manually in the MYOB app the name of the customer, the phone, the address, and whatnot. Later on, what I'll be doing is connecting it to a flow where whenever an invoice is created, we create a customer. Now, I have done it till this step that I only create a customer in MYOB, but you can further extend it and say that after you create the customer, you can then create the invoice, which is in Dynamics 365. Now I'll show you how you can provide dynamic values, because it's not like whatever you enter during this recording would be considered the only value. So you can actually change those values, and I'll show you the example how to do it. So then I'll select my company. This is MYOB operation. I don't know how familiar you are, but if you are, that's good. If not, just select company, and then I click OK. So there's no password for administrator, so I click that. Now the next step is you have to go to card file. So you're here, and then under cards list, you will be able to create a new customer. So this is the list of customers. If I click here on new, now remember I created an input. So for input to auto-populate, you have to first click on the field where you want it to be populated. Then you go to this doc and click on use input, and then I'll select my customer name, and then I'll click once more, and that's when it will be populated. So there are 3 clicks there, and let's click OK, and done. So I've clicked done on the dock, as in the app launch recorder thing, the recording of this desktop app. Now I'm going to close it and close it. Right, so I've closed the app, and you can see that the steps are recorded. If I click on each of these steps, you can see they start auto-populated, then everywhere else you'll be able to see the screenshot. So it has captured everything you've done. And this is happening via the desktop app. So everything is there. Now what you can do is click next. One more thing, that where it says run start script, so that's where you hit your Windows start button and select something from there. So that's that. I found this has the trouble, so I think it hinders in completing your UI flow, so I just delete it. So I'll delete it from here and I'll click next, and I don't want any outputs, that's already done, so I don't want to create anything here. And then I click next and I just want to test it now, so I clicked on test now. But once you have hit test now, you shouldn't touch your cursor or mouse pad at all, right? So see what's happening. It has opened up AccountRight, MYOB AccountRight, and it will do the exact same things which I did. So that's your first part. Let's complete the operation, let the system do it. So I'm not doing it. Okay, my hands are here. So it's trying to log in now. I will say, okay. So I find it funny. I saw this happening in one of my projects, like the guys were doing automated testing, and I'm like, this is like a ghost in your system, like everything is happening on its own. So this is like that. But it's too much fun because you can save a lot of time. Definitely a lot of time. And I've seen other examples of it where I wasn't convinced that I'll use it for those purposes. But I try to come up with a good business scenario or business use case. If you like it, do give a thumbs up to this video and do comment. So it's trying to type the name. Don't know why it's taking time. I must be speaking to you guys when I was doing that. Maybe that's fine. So the name is typed. Now it has to hit OK. And once it does that, the customer is created, you'll see your flow ran successfully. So you've created one UI flow with the desktop app. That's great. And it was so easy to do. You can see that. Obviously, I'm doing a video and talking to you at the same time. That's why it took probably 8 minutes. But if you do it, this would be probably a 2-minute operation where you can complete this flow in. So that's that, and all you have to then do is save and exit, right? And then you can run this flow anytime you want, correct? But do we want to do it? I don't think so, we don't, because we want to demonstrate the integration between two different systems. So let me just show you something else I did. Save and exit. Okay, so create a customer in mind. So that's the real one which is going to operate when I do a final demonstration. This is the one which I just created. Now, I'll go to my flows. So these are the usual flows. Now, if you look at it, this is my integration piece of flow. So what I did, I said new, and then I said automated from blank. And what it does is, if you look at the steps of this flow, it's always failed. Don't know why. Okay, so what I've done here is, when a record is created, that's my organization. Entity invoices, scope is organization again. Now what I'm doing there is I'm getting customer, so I'm getting record customer from the invoices, so that's lookup, and then in the compose I've got its name so that it can be then populated in my UI flow. Then you have to add a step. So I'll give you an example. If I click add step and I just type here UI, and then you get two further options. So if you look, you have got to run a UI flow for desktop or for web. So if I select for desktop, it will then ask me to select my UI flow. So you can see those two flows are there, UI flows, right? But it's not that easy in terms of that. You just have to select a UI flow. When you click on these ellipses, you can see that there's a connection I've created here, and that's because when the flow runs, it has to authenticate your laptop or desktop account as well. So you'll have to do that. Saying it again, you have to go to my blog and check it out how I've done it and what is required to be done. So basically you add a step search for UI, you get two options, whether add a UI, desktop UI flow or web UI flow. So in this case, it was a desktop one, so I'll delete this one, and now I'll click on my run a UI flow for desktop step. Now I've selected create a customer in MYOB, and what you see here is customer name was the input I provided there, and then I'm getting the output from here. So which means every time this flow runs is when an invoice is created. So whatever customer is in the invoice, that will be created instead of creating a control so sample customer. So dynamic values. So you can do that again, like have dynamic values in terms of your customer phone number, customer name, customer address. You can get it from any record, right? So that's what I've done here. What you could also do is you can, after creating the customer, you can also copy the same invoice from Dynamics 365 to MYOB AccountRight. You can do that too. You can extend it to any level you want it to. I'm not sure how the lengthy UI workflow flows would work, but I'm sure you can at least do customer and invoice together. So try that out and let me know. Okay, so now's the time to test. So what I'll do is click test, and I'll say I'll perform the trigger action, and I'll go to my Dynamics 365, so which is here. Now if I just give it a name, UI test, and I select a price list, okay, and I select a customer, UI1 cost, let's say, and I hit save. So as and when it's saved, I go, oh, I did not hit test. I did not hit test, and I created the record. Okay, I'll have to do it again. Let me click new. UI test 2. Select a price list, select a customer, UI1 cost, and I'll hit save. I'll go back to the flow and see how it's running. It's opening. Look, I'm not doing anything. It's opening MYOB. Yep. I will now try to log in. Now first it selects the file, company file. So we'll select DDD. What's happening there? Don't fail. Don't fail. I've tried this before, and I am hoping that this is going to be successful. Let's just wait. Okay, it seems like this might fail. Well, it's still doing things. Okay, it has failed. Officially, it has failed. So we will try it once more, because I know it will not fail. I think my MYOB was already open, so that might have been an issue. So now I've quit it. Quit. Okay, I don't want this. Yeah, there were 3 sessions open, and that's why probably the issue was. So let me close all of them. So it's gone. Now click on edit, hit test, and we will do it in the last failed one, which was 1 minute ago, and test it. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens, and will we be able to see the whole process on the screen. Should work. And this is just one part of the video where I'm showing you desktop app for UI flows. So it means that I'm gonna cut down on the web app. So I'll try to show you the web app, but actually not perform the action like I'm doing right now. So I have to cut down the time there, otherwise the video would be too long and you won't be interested in watching it. So it's gone till here. This is the last step where it clicks on cards list where all my customers are, and it can create a new customer. So let's see if that happens, and it picks up the dynamic name of the customer. So it has opened the list, clicked on new. Now name of the customer should be UI test something, whichever one we selected in the invoice. UI1 cost. So that's done, and I will click OK, close the list, and it should now say successful, and we have done it. Okay, so that's done. After it shows me the success message so that it's proven and you can see it too, we will move on to the second one, which is the web app. Cool, it runs successfully. Let's move on. You can check out the blog on my website where you see everything you need to run a UI flow, so that you have all the prerequisites before you start working on UI flows. That would be good for you. Okay, so my flows, UI flows. I'm gonna do this a bit fast, but I'm sure you'll understand. So I click on new. This time I'm going to go with web app, but before I go there, let me just do a simple one here. So I'll be on accounts and I'll copy this URL and here. So slight change in the UI, but it's essentially the same thing but different ways of doing it. So when we do web app, we get Selenium involved, and you get to see the step-by-step thing outside of your flow website, if I may call it. While in the desktop app, it's within the recorder of a flow, right? So that's the only difference I feel. Now it's asking me to give it a name. I'll just say web app UI flow, and then it asks you for a base URL from where you will start it. So I'll paste it and I'll launch the recorder here. Now you'll see a pop-up coming up, which is Selenium IDE, and you can see that the URL is here. Now if I click on record, it will open up that URL. So I'll hit record. It opens up that URL, you can see it. It is on accounts. Now what I'll do is, and this is, I'm talking about unit testing. So let's say we made certain changes on the account form and we now have to retest the creation of an account. So if there's an error, it will not create itself. You'll see that error. Otherwise it will be successful. So that's your test case, successful. I'll click on new. You can see a lot of account I've created. Okay, I'll just give it a name and hit save. So it's loading. So UI test 21, and then I'll save and close it, and then I go back to my recorder and I'll hit stop. As and when the save is complete, I'll hit stop. So I hit stop here. Now you can see everything, everything you did on the screen is recorded here along with what you entered there. Luckily, I did not show you the login process, otherwise you'll be able to see my password or maybe username, whatever. So on the extreme right here, you've got these three dots and you can click and delete a step as well if you think it's not of any use. Again, so if I wanted to perform another test, another example could be that I typed something which was manually typed, it was not dynamic, and I don't want to create something with the same name again, so I can change that value here. Similarly, anywhere, yeah, so mostly whenever you type, you get the value here, if you are opening or clicking anything, you get the target here. So what you can do is click here to run the test, and it will run. Just what I'm going to do is I'm not running the test, otherwise it will take more time, but you can do it. It's pretty easy. I'll just repeat this process again if you want me to. All I did is I was here, I gave it a name, my base here, I clicked on launch recorder, and it opened up my Selenium, which is this. It has captured all the steps of account creation, which I performed. And now all I have to do is hit save project. Once I do that, it is web app UI flow, it's there. And it's by mistake. If I click here, I can see it. And if I click on edit, it will again open the pop-up of Selenium IDE plugin. Otherwise, what you can do is, again, create a usual flow and insert the web app UI flow within it. So you can do that too. That will help you in something like this. So I don't know if you remember, have you ever worked with MSCRM and Microsoft Dynamics Nav or Business Central? There used to be a button on top of this ribbon where I'm hovering right now, which was called Sync to Nav. So that was that manual. So you'll hit that button and it will sync your record from Microsoft Dynamics CRM to Nav or Business Central. Now it has changed, but it used to be there. Now, what I can do with that flow is I can create a usual flow. So for example, if I go here, you can see I've got a test case 0001. So that will, so if I click on it right now, it won't work, but if I select any of the records and I click, it will start working. So you can do that too. So it's basically, when you go to usual flows, you don't get to see that trigger, which is called on selection of a record, right? Whenever a record is selected, you can trigger something. So that's this selection. So you do this and you can see a flow there later here, right? So, but then for that, you'll have to create it from here, or the CDS entries, or Dynamics 365 from here. So you click on create a flow and you can do that, insert your web app UI flow within it, and that will create an account automatically. So guys, those were my two business scenarios and real life examples of how you can use UI flows in your day-to-day life. I think these are pretty good business scenarios, and if you like the video, do give it a big thumbs up. Do comment if you have any questions. And looking at this t-shirt, I'm telling you, it's a good quality one, and it's not bad. It's just says TGIF, which is a general term as well, but this is, thank God, it's flow, so you've got a special F. All the money I'm generating out of it goes to a charity called Rural Aid Australia. They support farmers of Australia in drought or any situation, so it would be really helpful if you can check out this shirt on my website. I'll provide a link to that in this description of this video. I'll also try to put some images at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day, guys. Thank you.